Chapter 16 of A Negro Explorer at the North Pole, by Matthew A. Henson. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 16. The long trail was finished, the work was done, and there was only left for us to return and tell the tale of the doing. Reaction had set in, and it was with quavering voice that Commander Peary gave the order to break camp. Already the strain of the hard upward journey was beginning to tell, and after the first 2 marches back he was practically a dead weight, but do not think that we could have gotten back without him, for it was due to the fact that he was with us, and that we could depend upon him to direct and order us, that we were able to keep up the breakneck pace that enabled us to cover 3 of our upward marches on one of our return marches, and we never forgot that he was still the heart and head of the party. It was broad daylight and getting brighter, and accordingly I knew little fear, though I did think of the ghosts of other parties, flitting in spectral form over the ice-clad wastes, especially of that small detachment of the Italian expedition of the Duke d'Abruzzi, of which to this day neither track, trace, nor remembrance has ever been found. We crossed lead after lead, sometimes like a bareback rider in the circus, balancing on cake after cake of ice, but good fortune was with us all of the way, and it was not until the land of recognizable character had been lifted that we lost the trail, and with the land in sight as an incentive, it was no trouble for us to gain the talus of the shore ice and find the trail again. When we hit the beach for fair, it was early in the morning of April 23, 1909, nearly 17 days since we had left the Pole. But such a 17 days of haste, toil, and misery as cannot be comprehended by the mind. We, who experienced it, Commander Peary, the Eskimos, and myself, look back to it as to a horrid nightmare, and to describe it is impossible for me. Commander Peary had taken the North Pole by conquest, in the face of almost insuperable natural difficulties, by the tremendous fighting power of himself. The winning of the North Pole was a fight with nature. The way to the Pole, that had been covered and retraced by Commander Peary, lay across the ever-moving and drifting ice of the Arctic Ocean. For more than 100 miles from Cape Columbia, it was piled in heavy pressure ridges, ridge after ridge, some more than 100 feet in height. In addition, open lanes of water held the parties back until the leads froze up again, and continually the steady drift of the ice carried us back on the course we had come. But due to his deathless ambition to know and to do, he had conquered. He had added to the sum of earth's knowledge, and proven that the mind of man is boundless in its desire. The long quest for the North Pole is over, and the awful space that separated man from the Ultima Thule has been bridged. There is no more beyond. From Cape Columbia to Cape Chelyuskin, the route northward to the Pole, and southward again to the plains of Asia, is an open book, and the geographical mind is at rest. We found the abandoned igloos of Crane City, and realized that Captain Bartlett had reached the land safely. The damage due to the action of the storms was not material. We made the necessary repairs, and in a few minutes tea was boiled and rations eaten, and we turned in for sleep. For practically all of the 2 days following, that was what we did, sleep and eat, men and dogs thoroughly exhausted, and we slept the sleep of the just, without apprehensions or misgivings. Our toboggan from the Pole was ended. Different from all other trips, we had not on this one been maddened by the pangs of hunger, but instead we felt the effects of lack of sleep, and brain and body fatigue. After reaching the land again, I gave a keen, searching look at each member of the party, and I realized the strain they had been under. Instead of the plump, round countenances I knew so well, I saw lean, gaunt faces, seamed and wrinkled, the faces of old men. Not those of boys, but in their eyes still shone the spark of resolute determination. Commander Peary's face was lined and seamed, his beard was fully an inch in length, and his mustaches, which had been closely cropped before he left the ship, had again attained their full flowing length. His features expressed fatigue, but the heartbreaking look of sadness that had clung to him since the failure of the 1906 expedition had vanished. From his steel gray eyes flashed forth the light of glorious victory, and though he always carried himself proudly, there had come about him an air of erect assurance that was exhilarating. When I reached the ship again and gazed into my little mirror, it was the pinched and wrinkled visage of an old man that peered out at me, but the eyes still twinkled and life was still entrancing. This wizening of our features was due to the strain of travel and lack of sleep. We had enough to eat, and I have only mentioned it to help impress the fact that the journey to the Pole and back is not to be regarded as a pleasure outing, and our so-called jaunt was by no means a cake walk. End of chapter 16.